Hey YouTube, Satoshi Matrix here yet again bringing you another video. In this installment of the Adapter Factor, I'm going to be showing you yet another cool adapter from Mayflash. This time it's the universal adapter for PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. What this cool little adapter allows you to do is use an Xbox 360 controller on the PlayStation 3 or use a PlayStation 3 controller on the Xbox 360. It also allows you to use a PlayStation 2 controller on both, but that's fairly standard by this point. Okay, so first things first is some guidelines. This will only work with wired controllers. You must use a wired Xbox 360 controller. The wireless controller, even with the Play and Charge kit, simply will not work. It won't work at all. So you have to have the older wired controllers. So that's a given. As well, the PlayStation 3 controller needs to be hooked up through its USB charge cable. So again, you have to have this wired, but that's no problem either. The PlayStation 2 controller obviously gets plugged in through its wire, and that's simple. So the adapter itself, it has a USB cord that plugs into the system of choice. It also will work with PC, I should say. Right here you'll have the teeth for the PlayStation 2 port. Up top you have your turbo, home, and clear buttons. The turbo button works as you press the turbo button and then you press the button that you want to turn turbo, and then there's turbo fire, but that's fairly standard. The home button, it's fairly, useless for the PlayStation 2 or PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 controllers, but when using a PlayStation 2 controller, you do have that button, so that's kind of nice to have that right on the adapter. And as well, it has options for up to 4 of them hooked up to the same system as once. Okay, so on this side is the actual USB port that gets plugged into the controller that you want to use. So, and the bottom, it has a series of dip switches which are used only for the PC mode. This is to use various things like steering wheels and that sort of thing. Whether you want to use a USB steering wheel or a PlayStation 2 steering wheel or whatever. Okay, so let's turn on the TV and show you how this works. So just give me a minute. Alright, so let's go to HDMI, and here we have Dead or Alive 4 for Xbox 360. I already have it on. So normally what you do is you take your controller, your Xbox 360 controller, and plug it in and simply work. But here I'm going to take the USB end of this adapter and plug that into the Xbox 360. So just as such, there we go. And you'll notice that nothing happens. It's plugged in, but that's it. So now what you want to do is you want to take your Xbox 360 controller and plug it into the adapter. When you do that, I gotta say I pressed the guide button. Oh, technical difficulties. Let's try this again. Okay, there we go. Now it's brightly lit. I needed to press the button on the Xbox 360 controller. So now it's brightly lit, and now I can use the Xbox 360 controller on the Xbox 360. But that's not what we want to do. We want to try using a PlayStation 3 controller on this. So now all I do is unplug that, and this starts flashing. Then I take the USB charge cable, in this case hooked up through an extension USB cable. This is an extension male to female, and I plug that into this adapter, simply like that, and then into the PlayStation 3 controller. And when I do that, this lights up, and at this point, I can move the tripod. At this point, here is Xbox 360 being controlled with a PlayStation 3 controller. I could never figure out how to do this. Oh, there we go. But as you can see, all the buttons work. The D-pad, the analog sticks, they both function as they should. The shoulder buttons up top, the face buttons, the back button, the start button, and even the guide button. The PS Home button works as the Xbox 360's guide button, which is really quite handy. Okay, so there's Xbox 360, so let's turn it off. Hold down the guide button and turn off the console. Alright, so there's the Xbox 360 turning off, but now let's go to the PlayStation 3. PlayStation 3 is already on as well, so all I have to do is switch the input. But rather than demonstrate a PlayStation 3 controller working on the PlayStation 3, let's use this adapter and let's put the 360 controller into action. So all I do is unplug this port, plug it into the PlayStation 3, unplug the USB charge cable, don't need that anymore. Now again, this starts flashing again because it's detecting the PlayStation 3. Now I just simply take the Xbox 360 adapter and plug that into the side, and this starts being solid. And now Xbox 360 controller on PS3. So the game I'm demoing for this is 3D.Game Heroes for the PlayStation 3. Again, controller. This is a very Zelda-ish game, so because it's so Zelda-ish, I decided to put my avatar be Retro Link. And again, the controls are exactly what you would expect them to be. You have the 4 face buttons. They act as just as they should. The analog stick, the D-pad, both sticks. You have the L1 and R1, or L1, L1, L2, R1, R2. So it works, you know, just as what you would expect them to work. And yeah, that's basically it. And again, the guide button works as the PS Home button. So that's basically this adapter in a nutshell. And again, if you want to simply use a PlayStation 2 controller, all you do is you take the adapter, you unplug the USB port, then you unravel your PlayStation 2 controller, and you take it and plug it into the front of it. And this way, you can use the PlayStation 2 controller. Oops, I pressed the guide button. There we go. No guide button on the PS2 controller. But fortunately, it's on the adapter itself. But here it is, playing PlayStation 2, or PlayStation 3 I should say, with a PlayStation 2 controller. This will also work in the Xbox 360 mode, but again, if you're going to use it on an Xbox 360, you will need a wired Xbox 360 controller. You need this because Microsoft put in some sort of, software or whatever into their OEM controllers that third-party controllers don't have, and the Play and Charge kit doesn't supply. So, therefore, you will need an original controller. But finding a wired OEM Xbox 360 controller isn't not too bad. You should only pay about $20 or less for something like this. But again, the new adapter from Mayflash, it works remarkably well. It allows you to use controllers for either console, so whatever your preference is. There's some games that work better, in my opinion, with an Xbox 360 controller, and there's some games that work better with a PlayStation 3 controller. So now, if you have both systems and both controllers, you can pick and choose and play your games with whatever controller you want. The only real complaint I have with it is its compatibility with arcade sticks. Now, for whatever reason, this will only work with official PlayStation 3 controllers. This will not work with any controllers like any third-party controllers or any arcade sticks that are not made by Sony, but will work on the PlayStation 3. Those controllers will not work on the Xbox 360. Now, I'm not sure why, but for whatever reason, they just don't get detected. But and likewise, a lot of controllers for the PlayStation 2, third-party controllers, won't work. But the official, Hori controllers, the Real Arcade Pro 2, and a few others that I've tried, do in fact work with the Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3. So PlayStation 2 controllers are a go. PlayStation 3 controller is a go. But third-party controllers are not. So, buy this with discretion. You can't use, for instance, the USB Sega Saturn pad, which is amazing for the PlayStation 3. You can't use that on the Xbox 360, which is a shame, but, what are you going to do? Well, thanks for watching, guys. So if you want to check out this adapter, you can find it out at Mayflash's website. I picked this up from eBay for about $16.30, and that was free shipping, so it's a remarkably affordable device if you are in the market for using an Xbox 360 controller on the PlayStation 3 or a PlayStation 3 controller on the Xbox 360. So, thanks for watching, guys.